This is your final warning. It's time for midnight session in the morning. The gang is ready to go, and it's time for the show. It's time for midnight session in the morning.
No word you're saying. Say hi. Yeah, telemarketer didn't want to say hi to you guys. Perfect timing on that one. How y'all doing? Good morning.
Good
How you
morning,
doing, Paul?
Tom.
Good morning. Good morning.
I like your Schoolhouse Rock shirt there. I'm wearing my Jaws 2 shirt.
Nice.
Oh,
Good morning, everybody. We got Scribbles in the house. How you doing, Scribe?
doing good. Good morning, everybody, and sympathies to anybody dealing with month-end billing stuff as I am, because that's always fun.
Yeah. And we got Chris here. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, guys. Scribe, I like your Punisher shirt. I brought my own.
Oh,
brand.
well, you can't see it, but I'm wearing my patented Pepperjack shirt. So everybody's wearing a logo shirt today.
I love Pepper Jack. I'm good. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me. Looks like a good audience today, too.
Yes, we're glad to have you here. Andre is gone today. Of course, he will be back on Monday. We're going to try and do something this weekend for my birthday / members, so keep an eye out for that. We may have Price of Reason joining us as well, because he got to watch a movie with me. Well, not together. We weren't in the same area, but we all both saw the same movie. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to spin off of that into some other Jackie Chan news and some Fantastic Four talk. But we have Mr. Cabbage Pot Pie down there, Paul, just eating away.
I have to keep my strength up. I'm going golfing after this shit show.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, I heard you put a video out for my birthday.
Yeah.
I got a TV Guide video. Yeah.
Done.
Awesome.
Takes me forever.
Let's see
I
some
saw
birthday super chats today. Seriously.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah, go watch
Can't wait.
my TV Guide video. Not everybody watches them.
Let's
In
drop that in
celebration of
the
my
chat.
birthday.
Yeah.
The magical year of 1988.
Drop that in the chatto.
That's actually a
1988.
very poignant year because there was probably one of the most famous strikes
Yes.
that year. If you
Yeah,
want to
that
elaborate a little
affected
bit on
lot
that,
of the
Paul.
shows.
Yeah, because a lot of shows didn't get full seasons or got shut down completely early that probably could have been hits. And
And not just that, but the TV Guide, because I'm reading from the Canadian one especially, it presages the move, Hollywood's move to Toronto and Canada.
oh yeah,
The strike, the writer's strike, really was what kicked it into gear. Not a high gear, it kicked it into gear.
right.
And all sorts of co-productions suddenly popped up in Canada. Bizarre with John Biner, Super Dave, Saved by the Bell, Cats and Dogs, Mr. T and TNT, shows that ostensibly all starred an American.
21 Jump Street, I think, was one of them too that shot up
Yeah,
there. And,
that was shot up here. Yeah. So all that stuff kind of, if the writers strikes have not been very good for Hollywood at any time. So
yeah.
So I mean,
No,
it's
they're
no-
never a good thing.
yeah. So anyways,
MST3K came out that year, 88, I think.
what?
Oh.
Mystery Science.
Mystery
Theater.
Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, but that wasn't a
Not
huge-
TV Guide worthy.
No.
No, and I think it made its initial debut on, wasn't it like public broadcast?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
public access or something.
Yeah.
public access.
Yeah.
Yeah, public access.
Because one of the
became-
guys who was in it was from
in the 80s.
Wisconsin. That's what I know. Yeah, because it used to pop up around here quite often. But yeah, kind of like Red Green, like I always talked about with Paul. We're kind of in the middle there too, where we get a lot of Canadian entertainment. The Youpers, I know they kind of cross over quite a bit. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
But 80s also, I mean, that's something nobody talks about is cable access TV that popped up, especially in New York and Los Angeles, where you had just weirdest stuff.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where Mystery
Going
Science
on.
Theater kind of came from.
Yeah.
Is these college kids got together and they just did this thing. But
It was the
Speaking-
YouTube of its era.
It was.
kind of. Speaking of guys getting together, we did get a a trailer dropped on us this morning.
Ooh.
This might excite some people. This is something we reported on years ago, but it's finally come to fruition. So August 4th, returning to Hulu, I guess, via the Fox studio or 20th Century Studio, is King of the Hill. So there you go. We got a little teaser trailer here, and we also got Price Reason joining us. How you doing,
Hey, Price.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man.
So yeah, so we got this first little quick look at it. Let's play it. Andre's gonna probably already have to mute the audio in the intro. So yeah, it just shows over the years how things have changed. And evidently, Hank moved, and somebody else moved in. There's COVID, and then Hank moved back. There you go, guys. There's the new King of the Hill. August 4th on Hulu. So yeah.
Who will be the trans character?
You know how this video? You know why this video's a lie? Because they did not change their gutters.
Oh.
I was looking
Bobby-
for remodeling hints at something. I was that music just makes me feel good, though. I remember that
Yes,
being a great show.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so I
is
mean,
summer.
I'm looking forward to it because Mike Judge did a great job bringing Beavis and Butthead back, and they were immune to the woke. In fact, did all of you see the Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe movie?
No.
No.
Set it all up.
I did.
Oh,
Yep. It was great.
Yeah.
Because panel.
because one of the best bits is when they find out about white privilege. Like, we have white privilege.
Oh, I saw that bit. Yeah, I saw clips of that online. It was funny.
Yeah, it's great. Because what happened in the movie, Paul, is they start in 1998 where they originated from, but then they get zapped through a time portal to now. So, because they were part of a space experiment. So yeah,
It's good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
So then the new shows, they have kind of multiverse versions of them where there's the ultra smart alien kind of versions of them and the future versions of them that never went through time. So they're basically my age or our age, basically. Chris and Scribe and Price and myself.
It reminded me, the super smart versions reminded me of the alien on How to Serve Man from the old Twilight Zone episode.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the riff they're going with it.
Yeah, it was
Oh, that
funny.
was great.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
My
It's
Judge is consistently funny. You know,
Oh, yes.
I mean, it doesn't all hit, but there's plenty usually
He
there.
did that movie about Office Space, wasn't that
Yeah.
his?
Yes,
Yes.
he did Office Space. He did Idiocracy.
Bureaucracy, yeah.
Nice ending on Office Space.
Office Space is an underrated gem. Well, I mean, of course, most people have found that one. Idiocracy is the more underrated gem. I
Who
guess.
was
Oh,
the
yeah,
boss?
if you haven't watched
That
both of
wasn't-
them, you need to. Yeah.
That wasn't Gary Cole, was it? The boss?
In Office Space, yes. In the boss.
In
He's
Office
the boss.
Space,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to need
Yeah.
you to come in on Sunday, okay?
Sunday. Yeah. Oh, he was great.
I need to talk to you about those TPS reports. Okay?
That's right. And here's your new office. But this is no. I mean,
I was told I was having a window, and I had a window before, and
yeah,
they
you
were
promised
squirrels,
me,
and they were married.
but when do I get paid? I mean,
We worked out
Wish
the
me
glitch.
steeply.
Yeah.
So you fired him? No, we just stopped paying him.
and he's still here.
Eventually, he'll leave.
Well, he did leave with a bang, let's say.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
burnt the fucking place down.
Right,
I'll burn the whole place down.
I set the building on fire if I don't get
Great
Set the building on fire.
Machina ending for them.
Yeah. My favorite bits, he's like, I had a window, and they were squirrels, and they were married.
Yeah.
Which
Great.
is his way of saying he's seen the squirrels fuck. All right,
I
guys.
actually like Office Space better than Idiocracy, but they're both great.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Office Space is probably the more,
It's more quotable.
well, not just that, but it's the more polished of the two. And
Yeah.
of course, most people don't realize that was where he started, because Milton in Office Space was the first animated short he ever did
Yep.
prior to Beavis and Butthead.
That's
That
right.
showed up on Liquid TV, I think, at one
right.
point.
Yep. Liquid
I-
TV. Oh, man.
Prior to Beavis and
know.
Butthead, after I left the CBC, I pitched this show about an animated show about two idiots who talk about porn and things. and it was really roughly animated on purpose, and I got turned down everywhere. They said no one is going to buy this, and essentially they were Beavis and Butthead, although not as well differentiated the characters. I think I told you that bit I talked about where two guys are talking about watching a porn film, and then one guy, a lesbian porn film, and then one guy picks up the cassette cover and goes, "No, this isn't just about two women going after each other. These are two lesbians." Ooh, turn it off! Turn it off!
Kind of sounds like if you took Bill and Ted and Beavis and Butthead and mashed them.
Yeah, it was more, yes. And I showed them a whole bunch of animated clips of this. They said, "This is really badly animated." Yeah, I'm doing that on purpose. Rather than Disney animation, it's supposed to look really hand-drawn and shaky and rough. This will never fly. And then Beavis and Butthead came up, and I was furious.
Well, Beavis and Butthead, and then Dr. Katz, professional therapist, which had
God,
I was definitely
Dr.
down.
Katz.
I do not blame. I'm not never claimed that it was stolen. But
No, Mike actually didn't like the crude animation. It just looked that way just because he did it himself in his basement. Once you get to the show itself, once you start noticing like past the first season,
yeah,
it gets pretty clearly defined, and the animation gets a hell of a lot better. There's a bigger
Did he
leap.
do the animation himself?
In the original one, yes.
Wow.
The original ones, the first 3 or 4, he did all himself. And then when MTV came in, he had a crew, but they ordered like a whole season where the shows, I think, I can't remember if it was 22 or 23 or whatever episodes. And he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So it took him forever to get the first few episodes out, but they kept showing him over and over and over on MTV. So they've kind of retired the first season because they showed it so many times when it first started, because they only had like the first 3 or 4 episodes until finally they were able to get some more done, because they gave him a whole nother crew to help him out and stuff. So they finally started pumping out episodes. Because like once you get to the second, third season, Frog Baseball was one of the first ones, the truck one, where they go to the truck show, and
which kind of really kind of kicked in the door for South Park, because it was also cheap, rustic animation. You know, all
very
in that
much
95 to 98 era.
Well, they even paid homage to Mike by having him come in, and he did the original voice of Kenny.
Oh my gosh, I
don't know if you guys know that. Yeah, so when he pulls his mask down and he goes, "Goodbye, you guys," that's actually Mike Judge saying that.
It is?
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Respect all around.
I love
The
it.
more you know.
It was an
The
era,
more
quite an
you
era.
know. See, Tom already knew that, so I can't play it. I can't
I
play
did
more
not know that.
Toms.
So
Is he
the first
credited or is
season,
it
though, would have been
uncredited?
Yeah, I think he's
music
credited,
videos,
too.
right? Because they watched
Wow.
music videos most of the time and just bagged on them.
Yeah, initially it was music videos because that's what MTV actually played at the time.
Right at the time, yeah.
But then when they did the revival in the mid-aughts, they started watching like 16 and Pregnant and Addicted and all these other shows that were on MTV. And now what I love about the show is they watch YouTube videos and stuff. And one of these days, you never know, one of us might pop up on there.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Because there's some people now that have talked about it. They're like, yeah, they just send you an email and ask if we can use your video, and the next thing you know, they're on the show. They have no idea what they're going to do with their stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember their scripted stuff, or I never saw it, but I do remember watching them all the time when they were just those shorts where they were commenting on how bad the videos were.
That's pretty much the show. What he would do is like little 6-7 minute, like basically Looney Tunes links episodes, and they would just cut in the music videos in between the commercials. So it would pad it out to like 15 minutes. So then you'd have 2 episodes for a half hour, basically is what it is. And it's the same thing now. They just, instead of just music, they still watch music videos, but they also watch just like ASMR videos and just weird videos, you know, like
Really?
whatever pops up. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's actually gotten really good. So they had 2 seasons already. The third one's coming.
Too bad there isn't a video vehicle where people can just endlessly comment on other people's stuff.
What?
Well, that's
a
what
concept.
YouTube is, and that's what they watch now. Even they don't even watch MTV. I know. Oh, well, let's see what you guys are talking about out there. HyperGuyver2 says, "Rest in piss, Ed Gale, you chomo. Now I can't watch Chucky or Howard the Duck, you prick. Rest in power, Peter Rain Kwong." Well, he's not in the whole things, and you don't really see him anyway, so in that sense, I can still separate. But yeah, that's we lost Ed Gale the other day, and one more pedophile out of the world.
Oh,
Dr.
I didn't know.
Long,
I didn't know that.
he got busted like 2 or 3 times in stings. Yeah.
Oh,
in
I
more
had
recent years.
I did an RIP to him on Twitter yesterday, and I had no idea. Okay.
Never been convicted, but he's been busted in trying to meet youngins, let's say.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Long Dongler sent in a £1.99 with a thumbs up to remind you to pound that like button if you haven't already. Thank you for that, Dr. Long Dongler. One of our consistent listeners. Speaking of consistency, we got Corbin Dallas, who's been here for 19 months. Thank you for that. And Mark Fields, also a consistent listener, who always sends us in positive vibes to the wonderful audience and the wacky panel. Have a beautiful day. P.S. Godzilla rules. Yes, he does.
Mark
And
is
then
right.
Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle gifted 5 memberships. Thank you for that. So hopefully you're one of the people that got one of those. Mark Daly sent in $10 and says, probably can't make a weekend stream, so happy birthday, early birthday, Tom. Have a beer on me. Well, I don't drink, but I'll definitely have a drink on you, and I appreciate that, and thank you. Dark King says, Tom, thinking about a new TV. Is 8K worth it? Do they even make 8K TVs yet?
8K.
I'm sure
Honestly,
someone
there's
does.
nothing. Yeah, I'm not sure there's really anything to watch on it.
You want to see the pores of someone's pores? What's the point?
They do make them. They do make them.
I mean, I guess you could be future-proofing yourself a little bit, but I don't know if they're really going to get much farther than where they're at in the next 20 years. Because they're still, digital video is still catching up with the Ks.
Yeah.
So,
I think you can get them for around 2K, which is what a good HD TV would have cost you 15 years ago. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know most base models now are just 4K. They don't even bother making too many 2K models anymore, but yeah. Maybe Dark King. I don't know of anything that really you can watch on it yet that's an 8K out of something that you might be able to find specialty, but like they don't have an 8K Blu-ray player or anything like that coming up the horizon or anything like that.
I mean, we're probably still years away from 8K.
I think they did like the Olympics more recently in like 6 or 8K, but like again, you're stuck with randomness from time to time. Maybe that you might be able to have something. Maybe the next game systems will start to utilize that, but other than that, I can't really foresee anything else. I know they are starting to talk about using these monitors for like hospitals and stuff like that, but that's the thing I kept hearing was anything past 4K will probably be for the science or medical industry, most likely.
I do remember that they did some 8K trailers, like Blue Beetle and Dune Part 2, I think had
Really?
8K trailers. Yeah,
I can
so,
believe
because,
maybe
that's
maybe
an IMAX.
theaters.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe theaters might move into something like this, but yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get it at home. But
I
hey,
just
you'll be
don't know. Can
prepared.
we tell? Can we visibly see anything beyond? I mean, like, is 4K and 8K really going to be like a remarkable?
It all depends on the source, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to say no because I mean I've talked to enough people to know that even 35 millimeter film, there's people that would argue that you still got to go 6 to 8K just to get that captured properly. So it's a possibility, but unless you're talking like 60 millimeter film and or projects that are already shot and finished in 8K, I don't really see it being a thing. Because
Yeah,
most
I mean, you
35
better have a
millimeter
big
films look
TV.
really good in 4K already.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you need maybe a 90, 75, 90 inch TV, maybe.
We got enough problems with shit in 4K now as it is.
No doubt.
Because they can't get half that shit right. But anyhow, you never know, Dark King. I say go for it if you can get it for a good price.
He could buy me one, and then I'll tell him.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
He'll do that.
I wish I knew. I'd never actually seen 8K, so I can't really say. Pilgrim Media says, I believe Kids in the Hall was brilliant comedy. Absolutely, it was.
I believe
Absolutely.
Pilgrim is correct. Yes, it was amazing.
Yes. I think I asked Paul before if he ever met any of those guys.
Yep,
I
I
think
knew
he
them
said
all. Went to go there. I was the one who supported them a lot at CBC before they got their show.
I was gonna say they're all Canadian boys.
Yep.
Speaking of Lilo and
Well,
Stitch,
they're
one of
from
them
the
did the
West,
voice.
but they became famous in Toronto.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mr. Show. Anybody remember watching Mr. Show? I kind of like.
I thought they were Canadian. I just assumed since.
Oh,
Yeah. But the one guy did a voice in the original Lilo and Stitch. What's his face? Oh, no, I just forgot his name.
the one character that's not in the live action.
Yeah, well, no, he is in the live action, but somebody else played him. Pleakley. Oh God, what was the actor's name?
Oh, Dave.
It's in the hall.
Dave.
Actually?
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Not Dave Foley.
No,
There's Dave
the other
Foley,
one.
Mark McKinney. And
Scott
then there's
Thompson.
the guy who talks like this all the time. God damn it, I got to remember their names.
Well, Scott Thompson was the other one.
Scott Thompson is the gay lounge guy.
Kevin McDonald.
Yes.
Kevin.
I think it was
yes,
Kevin. I think
McDonald.
it was Kevin.
Yeah.
I think
Kevin
it was-
McDonald makes sense. Yeah.
Yep, Kevin McDonald. Yep.
I could make a living doing Kevin McDonald all the time.
Seeing Scott
Kinda looks
Thompson
like
on
you.
Hannibal was so bizarre. Like
Yes.
the first time I watched Hannibal and Scott Thompson shows up in like the medical team or whatever, it's like it's Scott Thompson. What?
That movie was actually pretty good too. The Kids in the Hall.
Brain
Well, their
Candy.
movie, Brain Candy, is actually
Yeah.
brilliant. Very underrated failure. It really has a lot
Yeah.
of unbelievably brilliant moments in it.
I think that was one Siskel and Ebert got in an argument about too. I think Ebert liked it and Siskel didn't. But anyway, Price and I saw a movie yesterday, and it looks like $2.3 million worth of you people out there saw it as well, which is not boding well for it.
Oh,
Karate Kid Legends only managed to kick up $2.3 million in its previews. While Lilo and Stitch looks to have an excellent second weekend, and Final Destination also crossed 100. But yeah, so we've got the 6th film now in the Karate Kid franchise, believe it or not, because now it makes the Kung Fu Kid basically canon to the... So now we have 2 movies in the franchise called Karate Kid, just like everything else, you know. So Price, you saw this. I haven't got a chance to hear much of your thoughts on this yet, so I'm curious what you thought of the Karate Kid.
You know, I think we talked a lot about why this movie was even conceived, and I do agree because this has come up many times that between Netflix dragging their feet on renewing for a 6th season or whatever that was, I feel like Sony just wanted to show them that they're willing to do another project to light a fire under their ass. So that's probably why they greenlit this movie, and the movie is pretty much disconnected from Cobra Kai. It doesn't really reference any events that really happened there, and it's kind of its own thing. And the part that I didn't love about it is just it feels like it's a rush job. It feels like a few people in a boardroom sat together and concocted this movie, and it's really missing the heart that I think was present in some of those earlier installments, and even in Cobra Kai. Everything just feels very clinical. They took certain beats that worked in previous movies, shows, whatever it is, and just really expedite them. The movie is like 90 minutes. Every scene, they just want you to go from A to B, from B to C, from C to... But there's no heart. Do you get what I'm saying? And by the end, first of all, the first hour, you don't even see Jackie Chan or Ralph Macchio almost at all. And when they arrive for the final 30 minutes, yeah, I mean, I like seeing them. I just don't feel the emotional impact. Like, with a little more effort, this movie could have been written in a way that you actually connect to these characters and you feel a little more than you're feeling. But instead, it just feels like it's like less than Cobra Kai for me. It's less than a few episodes of Cobra Kai.
I actually was sad because there is a good movie in here, Price, and I don't know if you agree with me or not. Script Doctor and I talked a little bit about last night because he saw it as well, and he went the same direction I did. Honestly, if anything, Ralph Macchio drags this movie down. Him being a part of it makes absolutely no real sense. Jackie Chan is not, I mean, he's supposed to be, I guess, the same character from the Kung Fu Kid, but you wouldn't know it.
Right.
Because he doesn't even act or reference anything from that movie. The first half of this movie is good. When it goes into the latter part of the film, when it becomes the movie when it becomes a remake of the original film again, is when the movie goes to shit. Because I feel like there was a movie in here and they had a chance to give us something that was kind of unique, not exactly unique, but look, there's always the joke about how Karate Kid was just Rocky with a kid, right?
Right.
Even Ralph Macchio has said the famous joke when he was shooting the scene on the beach. He goes, you know, John, it's hurting my feet. He's like, it's hurting your feet. He's like, yeah, it's a little rocky in here. And he goes, yeah, that's what everybody's saying about this movie.
Hello.
Since it's the same director and all that business, he's
Right.
like, haha, funny. So in this movie, you get a point where Joshua Jackson, who I like to call Dawson Duck because he was in Dawson's Creek and Mighty
Right.
Ducks, he comes into the picture, and his relationship with the kid is the movie as far as I'm concerned. That's what the movie should have been. This should have been like a Rocky Balboa movie where you have little Miyagi teaching an adult. Because what the story ends up becoming is it's a ripoff of the original film until he gets to New York, because it's a Chinese mother, Chinese kid, gets a job in New York, drags his ass to New York. He's been trained his whole life by his uncle, played by Jackie Chan. But once he gets to New York, his mother doesn't want him to fight anymore. That's the rule she makes, because you find out later they lost a brother to fighting. And it feels really tacked on and unemotional in the film. And to me, all the emotion is in the Joshua Jackson story with the kid. Because Joshua Jackson plays this former boxer who quit boxing as soon as he had a kid, and he opened this pizza place, and now he's got himself in over his head with some loan sharks. And the kid helps him in the same kind of a scene like in the original film where Miyagi jumps in and saves him from the Cobra Kai kids. You have this kid saving from some mobsters, which doesn't help when 2 seconds before that, you saw him got beat up by a high school kid. But yeah, he turns around and beats up 3 adults. So to me, the movie should have been, this kid doesn't have problems like the original Daniel LaRusso. They don't need an ex-boyfriend for the girlfriend. All you needed was he meets this girl, his dad and him have like this thing going on where he teaches him how to box so he can get back in the ring and make the money he needs. That should have been the fucking movie. But then, as you just pointed out, in the third act, all of a sudden, that gets kind of pushed to the side, and it becomes this story about this kid wanting to fight in this 5 boroughs match, and you drag in both Jackie Chan and Daniel LaRusso into the mix. And it feels so hackneyed and half fucking thought through that it's like, you had a good movie here. What the fuck happened? And the movie feels like it was shot in 3 different periods. Jackie Chan goes from having gray hair to dark hair to a puffy face to a not so puffy face. I don't know how many fucking times in the show or movie. And Daniel looks like he's wearing a wig.
Yes,
and
that's true.
It just feels off. It feels like it was something that was shot straight for video or straight for streaming. And sadly, what sucks is that the kid's all right. And the relationship with him and Joshua Jackson were the key to this film, and they fucking screwed it up. And it could have been a decent film.
The question is, what type of movie is this? If they were going for something like they build it, that this is going to have Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, they needed a different story, not the kid with the dad. Or if they didn't have the both of them and they wanted to do a separate type of story with the kid, maybe not even call it Karate Kid, just have this kid arrive, make friends with his daughter, arrive from China, and teach the father, how to become a great fighter again. I think that would have been a wonderful movie. It's
That's
just
what I'm saying. Yeah.
The thing is that I agree with you, but I still can't look at that when I'm reviewing the movie. I sat here with this being billed as like a sequel of sorts to all of these Karate Kid movies and shows and everything, and I sit here and it just looks like some kind of random mess. So is there ideas here that I like? Are there ideas that I like? Was the idea of Joshua Jackson and the kid, was that a good idea? Sure, but the way this movie is executed, I can't really even give it many points because it just feels random. He starts teaching him, and then the father's in the hospital. Nobody even remembers that anymore. It doesn't even matter.
That's what I mean. It gets shoved off to the side, and there's no real good reason for Macchio to be here. There's this really weird thing in the beginning where they tack on that Jackie Chan's family somehow taught Miyagi's family karate, even though they don't know karate. And that's the whole reason he's got to bring Daniel in here, is because they know kung fu and it's for a karate tournament. It gets so convoluted that it's like, why is this even the movie? And this is why I was saying is that Ralph Macchio shouldn't even be in this movie. It shouldn't even be about
Lawrence
him.
in the movie? Is there any Cobra Kai connection at all?
I don't want to answer that because it's technically a spoiler, but it's an end credit scene.
Wait. I need to know, where's Hilary Swank?
Yeah.
When does she
there
make
was
a
a
comeback?
perfect place to bring her in.
Right. I
and
agree.
they didn't. I thought. And did you think the same thing I was thinking, Price?
Yes.
Because this kid's got this tutor who's actually a pretty decent character. He's kind of funny, and he's looking for a place to train. And he goes, "Well, how do you feel about birds?" And they go to this roof, and it's this rooftop with a bird cage on it with a bunch of pigeons in it. And the first thing I could think of was Julie from Part 4 because she had that hawk on the roof in the bird cage at the school. So I'm like, holy shit, is this Julie's kid? And the next thing and it's not, but you're like, oh, that would be so cool if he's like, yeah, my mom's into all this karate shit too. Maybe she should join you guys.
That would have been awesome. And
then
it
would have made sense to call it Karate Kid Legends, because then you have all the teachers together. But then that's the other problem is Jackie Chan and Daniel LaRusso, they fight with each other through the entire training session, and they beat the hell out of the kid worse than the bullies ever did. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what the fuck are they actually teaching this kid?
Right. It's a movie that just doesn't know what it wants to be, and it's the outcome of a bunch, and I will still say it, of a bunch of executives sitting in a boardroom concocting something as a rush job. The only thing I'll say is, even if it doesn't do well in the theater now, it's still going to do pretty well in the long run, because I think that the budget isn't too high on this movie. And what they're going to do is, once they put it on streaming, if you have Cobra Kai, if you have the Karate Kid movies, people on streaming are going to watch this. This is going to do decently on streaming. One of those Netflix is going to pay some money for it, and at the end of the day, this is not going to be a financial loss. If nothing else, they'll break even and add something to the Karate Kid catalog, which is probably what they wanted. But this, in my opinion, is not a good movie. It's an okay, somewhat watchable movie, but it's not a genuinely good movie.
No, I totally agree. I think I'd give it like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. And we'll get past this now because I know everybody else has not seen it besides us, and everybody's like, we don't give a fuck. But I think you're right.
It's just Sony's modus operandi, though. You know, it's just like their Venom, Spider-Man, and the way they fumble those franchises. It sounds like another Sony hack job.
Well, as Price was just seeing, and I was talking to Valiant before the show today, Valiant Renegade, and he's under the same impression. He thinks that basically selling this to Netflix is going to pay for this movie.
Bingo.
Yep.
It probably only cost 30-40 million to make, maybe 100 tops.
But you know what a shame, though. You could have had a good writer just come in and do a good story. It sounds like they had every ingredient they needed to make the kind of movie that you guys would have enjoyed.
It should have been the Rocky Balboa story. It should have been. He didn't even have to be connected to anybody. It could have just been like the bloodline of Miyagi, and he just happened to grow up learning, kung fu karate wherever he was from, and he brought it with him here. And the reversal is he's teaching the old guy. Because that's the great. They even have the Rocky Balboa scene. You know, when what's his face from the old Rocky films, like, you don't have any. Your bones are shit. You're slow. You're old, and all that kind of stuff. He comes into one scene. He goes, "You're old." He goes, "Well, thanks for noticing." And you're slow. He's like, "Can I get you anything else?" He's like, "No, I'm going to train you, but this is what we got to fix."
Even just one cameo with Hilary Swank, and they could have sealed the deal and tightened this up, made something fun, had some good writing, and still do what they did, what you suggest they're going to do, sell it to Netflix, make their money back. But they could have just gone that one extra step, and it's all in the writing, What a shame.
The budget was $45 million according to the trade, so this isn't a movie that's going to lose money. They're going to make some money at the box office, even if it doesn't do extremely well. One of those Netflix people, streaming services, are just going to pay for whatever the budget was, and nobody's going to lose money on this. Oh, yeah, you're right.
No, you're totally right. Sorry, I thought it was unmuted.
Enjoy the streaming slop. More streaming slop.
That's kind of what it felt like to me. Is like, if this was a straight-to-streaming movie, I'd probably be praising it a bit more. But the other problem is, in the last 30 minutes, and this is another thing that's already gotten out there, and it's true, I can verify it, it turns into a fucking video game. So, like, it literally, like, has, like, the graphics and shit come up on screen like a video game.
Oh, no.
Like, the points and everything.
Like a side scroller or what?
Like
Not
Scott
exactly.
Pilgrim or
so,
something?
like, Scott Pilgrim style kind of thing, yeah.
Jeez. No.
And it totally takes you out of the film as far as I'm concerned, because it goes from what, like I said, a serious kind of Karate Kid world movie to something that's even wonkier than what Cobra Kai is. Because, Cobra Kai is a bit tongue-in-cheek, right?
Right.
In this, it's just not the. I don't know what tone they were going for here with this.
Somebody watched Rocky Balboa and said, we need a video game element to this.
I also didn't like the outdoor element. I know that some people, this is ever since Rocky 5. I don't like fights in the street when it comes to a movie that supposedly it has emotional weight. And Tom, that added to the kind of Street Fighter video game atmosphere that it's kind of outdoor. And that made it feel like more of a video game. If at least they went to a stadium, he's in the locker room, he's getting ready, something, I would have appreciated it more. Him being on a roof and all these like jerk-offs clapping just seemed annoying to me. Sorry.
Well, the whole thing felt stupid because I'm sitting here going, because they advertise this thing and talk about this thing like the Five Barrels fight like it's basically the All Valley tournament, right?
Right.
And when you get into this thing and you're like, wait, this is just like a fucking street fight? Like, what the hell is this shit? Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's like, no wonder his mom doesn't want him to fight. I wouldn't let him fight in this shit either. This is some backyard bullshit. Like, what is this? Yeah, so it just gets weird. But I wish I could recommend it. Sadly, I can't. Doesn't sound like you can either, Price. But we need to move on here because we got some Fantastic Four rumors as well.
Oh, yeah.
See what you guys are talking about. How do we make June Veterans Awareness Month much better than Gay Celebration Month? Also, let's take the rainbow back and make it great again. You know, I'm surprised we don't have a Veterans Awareness Month. Everything else has got a month. Yeah.
Oh, there's days and months all through the year, notwithstanding the ones we live through, but celebratory, left toenail day. I mean, they're constant. We have to bow to all these subgroups that want to be recognized and have their own month. Yes, but a lot of corporations are now pulling out of their mandatory victimhood self-flagellation and not sponsoring June events, which is
I'd rather there be a month Sorry. I was going to say, I'd rather have a month celebrating people for something that they've actually accomplished or some service that they've provided rather than just being something that you are. It's like, it's not a reflection of your character that I am in this demographic because of birth or choice or something, but rather like veterans is at least a reflection of someone's personal merit.
Yeah, your skin color or your sexual orientation is not an accomplishment.
No.
And even like a disability month. I mean, just maybe days of recognition are fine. I wish we would just get everything back to sort of something like that. Holidays, days of national recognition or whatever. And then there's the stupid holidays like Free Comic Book Day and Popcorn Day or whatever.
What about Chicken Pot Pie Day?
That was today. Exactly.
Okay.
Pot pie day.
Cabbage pot pie.
Sorry, cabbage pot pie.
In Canada.
Yeah.
They celebrate it differently.
Cabbage and corned beef pot pie.
We got to take the rainbow back. I heard they're removing poison from Skittles, so something's going on.
Oh, that's right.
Die quicker.
My titanium chloride or whatever. No.
My Fruit Loops have to have actual fruit in them? What are you talking about?
Yep.
Titanium dioxide, pardon me. Keeps my
Maybe
bones strong.
taking the rainbow back then. Who knows?
Well, I mean, I think the gay community has to take the rainbow back. I mean, I fought for gay rights in the 70s, and I didn't mind it at all because the rainbow was representative, not specific. And then somebody decided that it needed more stripes and more colors to be specific. And the problem is when you try to be everything to everybody, you're for nobody. And that's when things kind of fell off the rails. We don't need the trans pride flag, but the rainbow thing was fine. I mean, the community took it from Florida. Florida used the rainbow. I remember back in the 60s, used to go to Florida and you'd get a rainbow sticker on the back of your on the windshield, on the back window, which meant that you've been to Florida. And then it kind of got taken by the gay community, which is fine. Well, that's made sense because there was a ton of gay people on what's that isthmus called at the panhandle of Florida? What's that called? The islands, the little group of damn it.
I'm just impressed that you used the word isthmus. That's awesome.
Yeah, isthmus was amazing.
Island.
What?
Not the whole.
That's in California. Yeah.
But when we would go down there in the 60s and we'd go to the very end of the Keys and we'd notice, these people in the mesh outfits, they look different from everybody.
Didn't the rainbow kind of get appropriated through like the hippie movement and then the gay community kind of appropriated it?
But I think LGB needs to take the rainbow back and make it less political, just fun.
I think the Christians are trying to take the rainbow back. I think the rainbow was made by God so he wouldn't flood the earth anymore. I know there's some churches that get mad about that.
Well, and no, but Paul's right. Like the problem with it is when they became like, oh, we're going to identify with this and we're going to change the colors, and it became like almost like the Harry Potter schools of fucking.
Well, and each stripe color was designated a certain
That's what I mean.
Group. Yeah.
Right. Like everybody's like,
sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I said I want the rainbow back for myself because when
That's
I
fine
was a
too.
kid, yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but when I was a kid, like rainbows were cool. And nobody thought that they meant anything aside from, it's a rainbow. And then if there's rain and sun, you want to see a rainbow. And as a kid, I liked that. And people, had even, shirts with rainbows on them. They had like rainbows on their wall.
Right.
It seems absurd now when I say this, but there was a time when a rainbow was cool. And then somehow it got appropriated. I know I sound like a weirdo, but it got appropriated for all this like LGB first and then LGBT and all this stuff. And now it's like you can't show a rainbow anymore or mention that without that being associated with all that other stuff. And I kind of think it's annoying personally. I mean,
Well,
even nothing personal, even for the LGB, without the TQ and whatever, I still think that's annoying. The rainbow was something else. It wasn't even theirs. Why did every single thing gets at the end absorbed into a certain, agenda and culture and things like that? And I don't understand why. It had nothing to do with that.
I just
Sorry, I know I'm
want
a jerk, but that's what I think.
I'm still waiting to find my pot of gold at the end of it.
Frosted
It used to be leprechauns. Used to be every time I saw a rainbow, I think of Rainbow Bright or leprechauns when I was a kid. That was
when I
about
was
it.
little, I would want to find the end of it so I could get me some of that sweet, sweet gold.
Exactly.
Damn right.
Yeah, but
Damn
that sweet,
right.
sweet gold now is a half-naked leprechaun in leather strap.
And a mesh T-shirt.
Mesh
And ask
t-shirt.
you lips or hips.
No thanks.
That's-
I've grown up.
I'm the gold at the end of the rainbow. Oh, I'm the gold at the end of the rainbow. There we go.
Mark
Yeah,
Field
you're right.
says,
I mean, I see the point. But I mean, again, we do have the real rainbow that shows up every once in a while, and you can't do anything about it. It's up there.
this is true. Mark Field sends in $1.99 to point out that AK is in use in satellites. Yeah, I'm sure eventually
That's right.
it will get
Now,
somewhere
there is
with
some
it,
content on satellite that's 8K.
Yeah.
I found that out. Yeah.
But then Mickey also points out that in AK you can see the wall behind the TV. This is probably true. Patrick Robinson says Hunter Schafer is being eyed to play Zelda in Zelda movie. Apparently, she is apparently trans. I thought Nintendo had a final say on their movies. Are they going woke? Well, was there ever any proof that Nintendo hadn't gone woke per se?
I don't think they're going to cast her. I don't think that they're going to do it. I think that this is all just some weird, even if somebody was considering this, I think at the end of the day, some Japanese guy in Japan is going to sit and make a call, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, part of the problem is that journalism is kind of a lefty thing. The people on the right have got more important things to do, like having families and shit. And then you've got these zines, online zines, and this kind of fan stuff. That it's very gay energy is really suitable for doing this kind of stuff, which is why we see so much of it. That's part of the problem. Yeah, we don't need a trans Zelda.
No.
Not that I care. Like,
I don't really
do
care
what
either,
you
but
want.
in most of these cases, like, that's the thing. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have known if they were a trans actor or actress or not, in most cases. Most of them weren't openly about this stuff. There's probably been some actresses in history that we may had no idea were. Not that I think medical was advanced that much by then, but that being said, like, other than RuPaul, they were the only ones that were really out there. and I mean, I guess you could count.
But he was drag.
Yeah,
Right.
that's more drag. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That and same thing with, like, some of the others, but most of the time that was just drag. So I mean, we don't know for sure, and at this point, I don't care. It's not like I'm fucking them.
Maybe Terry Crews can play Zelda. I think
That would be amazing.
RuPaul actually, there's like two personalities. There's one that
Yes.
it's just like a dude walking around and going from place to place, and then there's like the character of RuPaul, which once there's a show or there's an event, then we see RuPaul. But it's not the same thing as one of the Transformer people.
Honestly, I haven't seen RuPaul run around in drag since the trans thing has been a thing. I've seen him more as a man in recent
Well,
years.
he actually came out complaining about the trans thing and got slapped down really hard, and he
that's
retracted it.
That's bullshit.
Well, I saw his quote.
Well, he's right. That he owned
But
it.
he was right.
Fucker.
Because he was basically sort of pioneer slash trailblazer in whatever field that he was in, and then they kind of overran him and whatever he was doing. So there's a lot of inner politics within this LGBT community that people don't talk about. I'll tell you one thing, and I'll just say it quickly because we should probably get off the subject. But many years ago, I worked with somebody, and I thought he was like a G, and at some point he was talking to me and he's like, oh, look at that woman, oh, she looks nice, and like I was kind of looking at him, and then he said, oh, I'm actually like a B, I'm not a G. And I said, wow, you always present yourself as G. And he said, yeah, I mean, if people in my community knew that I was like a B and not a G, that would get frowned upon. So he explained to me that even within their community, there's a lot of strange inner politics that I don't understand, and a lot of stuff that they themselves don't agree upon. And I don't know how this became this big rainbow group with like 70 letters, but it probably didn't help them. Just my personal opinion.
Well, no group is a monolith. And that's really what the cultural Marxists want to play on. That's their weapon, that they've stratified things again by race, gender, whatever. But even within those layers, I mean, not everybody is in the group. The problem is you've got a very vocal minority, and the rest of the people just want to live their lives.
Yep.
And that's the issue. Well, I mean, I have been deeply enmeshed in the gay community, partly because I have gay family members, but I also did fight, and I've talked about this before, for the gay community in Toronto. And the thing is, my joke is because we spent a lot of time funding lesbian organizations and sporting events and things like that, and here in Toronto, one of the things that always amused me, and I'm going to get into big trouble for saying this, is that you go to a lesbian event and you're the first thing that pops into your mind is how come the Me Too movement did not do anything within the lesbian group, because they are not nice. Many are not very nice to each other, and but like I said, it's the idea that any group does not map themselves onto the problems of any other group is false. We all have our problems. So and again, the Me Too movement always having it specifically focused on the straight community, except for the one guy, the one actor, Spacey, right?
Oh yeah.
He was the only person with specifically selected to be the spokesperson for the Me Too movement on the gay side, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, as we know, women are never terrible to other women.
Oh,
women
are
never
not terrible to each other.
No.
No.
It's the sisterhood is ironclad.
Speaking of women, Hollywood Burns says women don't have a month; they just get a time of. Ooh.
Ooh.
Bucky Cat has been a member for 26 months and sends a $10 super chat to say, rumor realm that Park Place is reporting that Superman has had 30 minutes of footage cut and that the editor was fired. I was looking forward to this, but my enthusiasm is rapidly diminishing. Okay, so I haven't read their report on this yet, but my understanding of this is based on a World of Real report that came out a few days ago that really kind of misrepresented what was kind of going on with the headline. Now, I'm not saying the movie's good. I'm not saying the movie's bad. I'm not saying anything like this is true or not true. I do know that they did have to change composers, but that just doesn't mean that the other guy another job just didn't come up, because this is the same guy who's composed like 3 or 4 James Gunn's movies now.
Is it the same guy that did an annoying electric guitar with the Superman music? Because I hope that was replaced.
Yeah, I think so.
I never want to see that again.
And maybe that's what happened. Who knows? And who's to say that this guy? I don't know for sure. And from what I heard, it was just they're kind of reporting all these test screenings together, and I still have never heard any confirmation on a lot of these things. So they're still running with a lot of stuff that was rumor. Now, the part that's at the end of the story is that the new cut of Superman actually tested pretty well, I guess. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that Park Place is lying or World of Real is lying. I'm just saying I can't confirm or deny it. I haven't heard any kind of controversy or anything like that to this extent. So
Does James Gunn have a history of scrambled productions that we know of?
Not
no,
really,
in
no.
fact, he's the one that generally doesn't have any problems whatsoever. It seems like
Yeah,
a
so
lot
when I
of
hear
his stuff
things-
is pretty
yeah.
pre-planned out, and yeah.
Yeah, I just recall that he's always run whatever you think of his movies or his output, that he's always effectively run a tight ship when it's come to production. So, I mean, Superman is a special case. So
Yes,
and it's a lot
just
riding
saying.
on it. So if there's something that has to be done or there's some kind of emergency,
The
this might be the
pressure on
exception.
Superman is huge.
True.
I don't like being in the position of having to defend James Gunn based on his prior social media use, but we're going to see it when we see it, and not to diminish that Park Place's reporting as a likewise reporting outlet and sometimes muckraker, I guess, at Bleeding Fool. The titles of these articles, the angles of these articles are meant to draw in this very sort of audience that's interested in it, right? Like you read that headline. Let's say I've got it right here. Rumor: Superman movie cut by 30 minutes. Editor fired and tone overhauled after test screening fallout. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Wow.
just primed to make every person that's interested in this movie go read it. And
Well-
not even really to diminish Bucky Cat's concern. I mean, it's a very good concern, but
Oh, absolutely.
if footage was cut, I would assume the movie's going to be better.
Well,
you know?
that's the thing is I'm hearing, like, I've heard a couple different things, read a couple different versions of the story now, and they all seem to be either they don't cite their source or they come from the same place.
Yeah.
I've heard 18 minutes, I've heard 20 minutes, I've heard 22 minutes. I've not heard a whole half hour. Now, basically, what basically I'm getting to though is like what you're talking about is they'll do a screening of like the assembly cut or a couple different versions of the assembly cuts, and then from there they'll take those and they'll cut them, whittle it down to its final version. This happens in every single movie, right? Like, this is not abnormal. Most movies have anywhere from 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes of deleted scenes in some cases.
How much footage do you think was cut from the Donner version of Superman?
Oh, we know how much was cut, in fact, because there's a 3-hour television cut.
That's right. So,
So
about
there you go.
30% of the movie. So I mean, I don't get bent out of shape about news that 30 minutes.
Well,
of footage
somebody who may or may not know something about this, maybe they've heard a thing or two about a test screening or anything about it. Paulie, have you heard anything about this
Hey.
Superman business?
mesh T-shirt? No, just a tank top. Okay, thanks, Paul.
Nice tank top, though.
It's my Miyagi-Do tank top.
Yeah, look at it. It's got
What's happening, everybody?
crap on the screen here.
We
There
just
go.
been waiting on you to get here.
Yeah. Well, I heard you guys talking about Karate Kid earlier, but we're
Well, we're
walking
on Superman
$5.
right now. So have you heard anything about some test screenings or the movie getting cut down or anything like that? Or is that just nothing that's come across your,
No. Don't really have a connect in that realm. But to jump on what Chris is saying, they were doing the same thing with these headlines. I mean, it's clickbait, right? And no one's attacking anyone here.
No, we do it. We do it. I mean, seriously.
Sure, right? Like, but even on our site, when we do it, it's like it's got to have a connective tissue to what's.
You just want a good title. You want a good title that draws them in to make them read, but you don't want to bullshit people.
No, you don't. And so I will say that the same thing was being said about Fantastic Four the last couple of weeks. That I do have a personal connect with, like a real person that I know.
You and Pedro are tight, right?
No, not Pedro. No, I'm talking about someone like that works for Marvel. That would be my wife and Pedro, honestly.
Okay.
Smart ass. So when the same thing happened as far as massive reshoots, this and that, I just text him saying, "Hey, what's up?" Like, they're nothing more than pickups. And so I trust that guy because as far as what he's told me before in the last few years, everything he said as far as the Marvel entities have all happened, have all come true.
Yeah.
Right. And that is their person's expertise as far as that area of film, of the Marvel end of filmmaking. So there's you're always going to jump on a rumor and make it a headline. At the end of the day, like what Chris was saying, look, we really don't know until we see it. Like I saw Karate Kid yesterday. You know, I can't really give my opinion into all the rumors and all that stuff. So yeah.
What kind of letter grade do you give it, Paulie?
What's that, brother?
What's your letter grade for the Karate Kid Legends?
6 out of 10.
Oh, okay. I think the
Sounds
guys here
about
gave
like
it
the
a
same
5
place
out of
I
10.
was at. Yeah, like 5 or 6 out of 10 is what I said.
You know, these movies, you're making a movie. I'm in video production, and sometimes you don't, especially with something as unwieldy and important as Superman. So you've got a 2.5 hour cut or something like that. You're going to watch it. It's also being made by committee, so it's not going to totally be left up to the director or his editor. He's going to have to answer to people. And sometimes you're going to argue about what we should cut, what we should trim, maybe something we should move a little bit or punch up a scene a little bit. And somebody says, no, I like it the way it is. Well, let's run a test audience. And then based on the feedback from the test audience, there's going to be some cutting. There's going to be some shuffling. There's going to be some, well, I can't really do that because we're going to have to do some pickup shots for that and go, okay, we've budgeted for it. Go ahead and get those pickups. I mean, they just want to make it right. I would feel much worse about it if there weren't any test screenings and there weren't any changes being made leading up to it.
The problem is that the bigger the entity, the studio, the corporation, the bigger the committee. Yeah. So when you're filmmaking by committee, then you forget what you were making to begin with. It's good to get that feedback, Chris. Absolutely, 100%. But even yesterday, even that Karate Kid was it was a real. You could tell it suffered from filmmaking by committee.
Well, and Price, and both Tom and Price commented probably succinctly and with great discernment that it looked like it was just made to sell it to Netflix. Here's more content in the library of Karate Kid stuff. We don't really care if the story's very good. And hopefully, and I don't think that's what they're doing with Superman. I don't think
you saw Karate Kid?
More HBO Max content.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I said the same thing before you arrived. I actually said that it felt like a movie by committee in a boardroom, and that they probably did it to add to the catalog, and they're not going to lose money on it, but it's a rush job, and it's very clinical. The screenplay is a mess, and at the end, there's no real emotional payoff. It's just kind of a movie, not the worst movie I've seen, but not an especially good one either.
Well, and we just had 30 minutes ago on the Superman news real quick. James Gunn debunked
I
a bunch
want to
of this stuff.
respond to that, and I want to respond to Price, and I do have a theory, but Karate Kid, so I'll just wait.
No, yeah, real quick, we'll come back around to Karate Kid. So James Gunn debunked it and said Superman runtime has been locked. Said it's almost totally locked. So that means they're almost done. So he's kind of shooting down some of these rumors in a way. He said all it's left is few VFX shots.
Okay. I mean,
he did confirm though that the runtime is not. He said confirm that the runtime is not accurate. So we don't even know if that's the actual runtime yet.
Yeah,
so
his hint was
as of right now.
Yeah, he said Barry Lyndon was his hint.
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
Deep cut. All right. So now, Paulie, back to Karate Kid. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there because I just found that.
No, I mean, I actually, Price, I probably hate this film more than you do. It's not that it's a bad film, but it has no business being a mid-average film after 6 seasons of what Cobra Kai has built up. It has no business. I mean, it really, and I sat through it, and I'm a martial artist, all that stuff. I'm a huge fan, and it was just a complete letdown. And, they totally horseshoed in Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. The biggest reactions you got last night, and it was a good crowd, young crowd that I was part of, was when Ralph.
Spoilers, by the way. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, sorry guys. You don't want me to do spoilers? That's all right.
I didn't say it, but you did, so it doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter now. It's not a big deal, anyways. It's not really crucial to the movie one way or another. It's not going to change the
it's
experience.
just a cameo fucking end credit scene. Yeah,
right.
And you're absolutely right. It's like it's so not crucial that you're. I was wondering why is LaRusso even in this? Because that to me and Johnny Lawrence appearing at the end was totally done last minute so they could connect to the Cobra Kai success. Um, those were the biggest reactions I got from the crowd. There was a couple of laughs here and there.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Polly. What are the odds that the guy that runs that dojo also loaned the father money and that she's dating his top fighter? What were the odds of all of that happening?
I think that got trimmed out, but I think you're right too.
By the way,
honestly, that whole thing should have been trimmed out. The whole thing with the other dojo, the other guy, Connor's whole story, gone. Get the fuck rid of it. It's pointless and didn't even need to be there. You didn't need that whole last fucking 5 Burrows fight. All that shit was unnecessary.
You know what I discovered though, and I think this is a scoop. So you guys, it could be a scoop that means something, and it could be a scoop that means nothing. But I believe initially Sony said in earlier announcements that this movie was going to be 1 hour and 58 minutes, and the movie ended up being 1 hour and 34 minutes. If you Google Karate Kid Legends 1 hour and 58 minutes, some places will still show that that's the length of the movie. But then later, when it came out, it was only 94 minutes, and nobody has an explanation for it. It could be a clerical error. It's possible. Or somebody came in and chopped a lot of this movie up. Maybe there was an additional storyline. Maybe they didn't want to wait so long until you see LaRusso and Jackie Chan. Maybe there was more to that story with the father. I don't think we'll ever know.
I think you're on point. I think that 30 minutes got cut out of this movie because you could feel it. And I agree with you. It's probably from the first half. I feel like it was probably more of the Joshua Jackson story, and I think you're right. There was probably a connection somewhere between the two JoJos, because when it happens in the film, when that storyline wraps up in the middle of the fights, it feels so tacked in there or unceremoniously set up, and the way it kind of just ends, like it feels like such an afterthought. So I feel like you're 100% right. I feel like this movie probably was closer to 2 hours, closer to release. And they just chopped out 30 minutes of this movie.
If you
it was
Google,
probably because the audience,
here's my theory.
The
on
test
all
audience
this,
probably
right?
complained that you don't get to see Ralph Macchio to the last 30 minutes of the movie when the movie was 2 hours long.
So I'm gonna go back to that price because I'm gonna go back a few years, and I'm right with you. A few years ago, when Cobra Kai was really like just wow, this is a huge success, and another new season was about to drop, and it was getting a lot of press. If you remember, there was an article from the LA Times where they went after the showrunner, executive producer, saying there's no Asians in this in Cobra Kai. Does anyone remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they announced they were going to do an Asian kid in this. Yep.
Doesn't even matter, right? Because the point is that the showrunners then said, you know what? I hear you, but we're doing our thing. We're not veering off just because we need to get an Asian in there, for lack of better words. And it worked. And then at the end of the day, slowly but surely, they did add some Asian female characters into the world of Cobra Kai. Cool. I think because it was a pretty scathing article, and it was and it was like at the height of Wokoso 2.0, 2021, 2022. I really think that some goofball at Sony was like, yeah, fuck Cobra Kai. We're going to do a new Karate Kid, and then we're going to have it as an Asian lead. And this is what we got. What happened was that Cobra Kai kept being a huge, mega success. Cut out the Jackson, like you said, cut this out, cut that out, add in Lawrence, add in Machio, and there you go. Thank you. Guys,
Didn't take me long to find it.
And it didn't take me long to think about this. And I remember covering this article years ago when it came out because we're huge Cobra Kai fans. That, you know what? Someone at Sony, got butthurt over this, and you got Karate Kids Legends. You didn't need Machio. You didn't need Miyagi-Do at all. This is basically Karate Kid 10 sequel with Jackie Chan. But he's not even a Karate Kid, right? Because this Ben that we got, he's a kung fu master. The Karate Kid, he's a legit kung fu fighter. That's not Karate Kid. But anyways, that is ultimately, I think this is where it derived from, guys. and I think we're all suffering. Our audiences
Well, you're
are
spot
suffering.
on.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
you're spot
agree.
on. But Tom, you have said, I don't know what movie we were talking about Wednesday, but you had a brilliant take on how they could have done it better, and that would have been bringing back the old cast to sort of be a bridge to the new.
That was the Harry Potter ones. Yeah.
That's right. And I think that's why I keep saying they had the right ingredients here to do something cool, bring in Hilary Swank even. But
No,
it's just
no,
sounds like it was just
no.
a terrible story.
Here's what I got, right? Here's what I got. Hear me out, guys. You have what you're talking about, Chris and guys. We were doing for 6 seasons, mixing old characters with new characters. The two greatest foils now are Macho, are Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence. They're fantastic together. Their chemistry is undeniable. Even in that 1 second that they were both on the film, it's like, wow, these guys are so great. They've been working on this Cobra Kai for 6 seasons. At the same time, they added 4 new great characters: Miguel, Sam, Tori, Robbie Keane. Those are your 4 Karate Kids. At the end of Cobra Kai season 6, Miguel literally does a Karate Kid 2. I'm going to throw off all my money and go to Okinawa with you. And you remember that ties back to LaRusso telling Miguel what he did to be there for a friend. They literally get on a plane and they're going to Okinawa at the end of Karate Kid. That is your first movie. Sam and Miguel get in trouble. Chosen maybe gets involved with some crazy shit. Here comes LaRusso and Johnny to save the day. That is your first Karate Kids movie coming out of Cobra Kai. It was all set up, which is why this thing really pissed me off, guys, because he had all these what IP in the last 20 years has done what Cobra Kai did? None. It's this one where they honored the old characters, created new characters that we all love, and what did you do? You pissed all over it with that shitty movie, Karate Kids Legends. I'm done.
Blame Sony.
No, and I feel the passion, Paulie, because like I
I'm
walked
done.
out of this thing going, this was a big wasted opportunity. Not that I was expecting much of it. That's probably why I'm not as hot as you are right now, because otherwise I probably would be. But I kind of knew this was going in. My disappointment comes in that it could have been a good movie.
Look,
That's
Josh,
my disappointment walking out of it.
I mean, every day I wear my fucking Cobra Kai beanie. I
Right.
mean, whatever. I'm actually just rewatching season 6 and just how just incredible they wrapped up these characters. But the open for it is that you got these kids that you love, and they're now going into college. But again, Sam LaRusso is one of the, and I argue this like some of the best new female-led characters, right? Because Holly doesn't know what they're doing with female-led characters. You got Alita, who's amazing, and I say after that, it's Sam LaRusso and Tori. Those 2 women are fantastic, and their arc in the entire seasons to where they're mortal enemies, friends, enemies again, going through a lot of personal hardship, losing a mom, I don't know what, finding out who I am, the pressure, all that stuff, and then bam, we love Sam LaRusso. We love Tori. These women are just such real dynamic characters. I want to see them in a fucking movie, man. I want to see them going on adventures with Miguel and Robbie Keane, and then Johnny coming in. Hey, what's up? I don't know what's going on. Let's fight. Let's do some stuff. I want Chosen, coming, because Chosen was such a great character too, in regards to him being so seedy and such a there's so much conflict and shame with this character. You bring it back to Okinawa, man. You got a great film. This and then it was filmed like it was like for TikTok. Like they never stopped, Price. They never stopped to that. And that to me, Price, is another reason this is not a Karate Kid film. Karate Kid just took its time with the storytelling. It's very simple, but it's very beautiful. It was deep. Everything had a lesson. Man, I'm pissed, man.
I 100% agree with you, Paul. We don't
Yeah,
always
I agree
agree,
with
and
you.
I'll tell you that everything you said, I agree with 100%. I have nothing.
And it
nothing to-
did feel like they were trying to emulate like the Spider-Verse thing with the editing, like with the weird transitions.
Yeah,
and
a
him
little
constant-
goofy shit
Yeah.
like that. I hated that crap. And here's another thing. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it's not a bad film. It's not
No.
terrible, but it's not a Karate Kid film. And everyone
Exactly.
in the film is likable enough. Like they actually got good actors. I love the new girl. She was fantastic. But it's not
I
a
did
Karate Kid though.
I did up until one scene, but like, and that's kind of where Script and I were talking
Yeah.
last night, and I think Price and I kind of agreed too, is that the heart of the movie was in the Joshua Jackson, little Miyagi or whatever, little Han story or whatever you want to call him. Like I said, if they just had him be a descendant of one of those two, him come to New York, him already know this stuff, him not, being picked on or anything like that. He don't need that. That's where the story gets dragged down, and this whole idea of it has to be a remake of the original film, because that's what it kept doing. It was like every time it felt like it was getting to a point where we're getting to something new or fresh or original or even remotely different than we've seen already, it had to remind us it was the Karate Kid by throwing in the asshole ex-boyfriend and having the same exact scene like in the original film.
Same exact garbage.
Every single time, like every time you turn around, they'd have one little nugget of, oh, remember this from the Karate Kid? Remember this from the Karate Kid? Remember this from the Karate Kid? And it's like, yeah, we get it.
I thought the Karate Kid movie was the one with Jaden Smith. It's the only one I've seen.
Oh, Lord. Well, that's technically what this is a sequel to, Paul.
But,
oh, really?
Chado, I think I like that movie a little bit more because at least Jackie Chan's character had some gut, had something behind him in that movie. This one was just like dip, 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 dip.
Well, I mean, I was
Even in
sort of half joking there, trying to like poke the bear.
I think he was trying to piss me off.
I was trying to push you off. But you know what? I was not completely offended by that version of the movie.
It does have some elements to it.
Not as much as I thought I was going to be, mainly because of Jackie Chan.
Right. I was going to say, Jackie Chan's performance in that film is great, but Paulie's not wrong. Like, he's technically the same character here, but he doesn't act like the same character here.
And then storytelling-wise, Cheeto, there's this whole buildup in Cobra Kai that there is a connection of Miyagi-Do to China, potentially Jackie Chan's character. And guess what they do with that in this film? Garbage with it, bullshit with it. And listen, it's in the lore, man. It's in the lore, right? Where Miyagi, ancestor of Miyagi-Do, one day Larasaki went on boat, went to Japan, came back with Miyagi-Do, went to China, came back to Okinawa with Miyagi-Do karate. It's there. That's it right there. Right there.
When I saw the trailer for this, I'm going, you've now got what, 37 seasons of Cobra Kai. Like, what was the purpose of the movie?
It would have been a great tie-in to tie in Jackie Chan's character and his karate with Miyagi-Do and Ralph. And then you're teaching a new American kid. I get that, but that's not what we got. Not at all. And you know what was so weird was that, oh yeah, same branch, 2 branches, same tree. That's what they were trying to push. And then they're arguing with each other on who has the better move while they're teaching the kid. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
That's what bothered me too, Paulie. I kept saying
that's Johnny Lawrence again. It's like
we've already seen this. Exactly. That's what I was saying. It's like, and there's no reason for them to be fighting. Absolutely no reason.
No.
Because they called him in for a reason. If I was Ralph Macchio at that point, I'd be like, why the fuck did you ask me to come here? And I mean, they play it off like it's funny, goofy banter, but it's like, no, I'd be like, seriously, at one point I'd be like, if I was Daniel Russo, I'd be like, you keep disrupting my teaching to this kid. Do you want to teach this kid karate or do you want to teach him kung fu? Because if you want to teach him kung fu, then fine, I'll fucking leave. But at this point, I'm trying to teach him karate and you keep disrupting it. Right? Because that's what I'm saying, Paul.
The whole idea, Chado, is that this kid's kung fu, he's off balance with aggression. And I love that. So Miyagi-Do has always been about defense, then you find the offense. You're not on the offense at first. Same thing with Cobra Kai's karate. Same thing with Johnny Lawrence's karate. So you blend those two together. Sam LaRusso, Miguel Diaz, Robbie Keane, Tori, which they fucking all did. You got a badass martial artist. And that's what I thought was the point of which would have been a great thing in the film. But it was all.
They're actually. They actually contradict that, Paulie, because what they have here, and this is, I don't know if you really noticed this at first.
Yeah.
He is a bit over aggressive like Julie was in Karate Kid 4. But at the same time, they give him this whole thing where he goes scared stiff. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't compute. Either he's overly aggressive or he's a weenie. because
Well-
they set up this whole thing where where it's convenient for the story that he gets like stuck in a deer in headlights if somebody's getting hurt,
That
and he
really
won't jump
annoyed me.
in. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, is it? Because then he all of a sudden he has no problem helping out Joshua Jackson's character against 3 grown adult men,
Well, and
but yet he
that's a
stood
whole
there and
nother-
watched his brother get killed.
And that's a whole nother thing, is that you have a Karate Kid who's a teacher and he's teaching an adult.
That I
But
like that aspect of the story. That was what I was saying. But
Yeah, but that's not Karate Kid.
no, but it's a flip on the Karate Kid, and it's like Rocky Balboa.
Okay, so it's Rocky Balboa, but then he made a promise to his mom, a la Bruce Lee, the big boss, never to fight again. I like that.
The one thing that bothered me in the Smith one was Jackie Chan was just there, and I think they thought that, oh, American audiences are not going to know the difference between Morita and Chan, like they're both Oriental. They didn't really make a distinction between karate and jiu-jitsu. I mean, kung fu. Chinese do not fight the same way as Japanese do.
Well, normally
in the show they kind of resolved that, because I never watched the show, because Morita and Jackie are not the same people.
They resolved it by having. Here's the thing. Normally in Japan, wouldn't it be Taekwondo and
no, Taekwondo's Korean. So
Korean? Okay, so what would be?
In the
jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I was just gonna say, because that's the whole thing, is they have it to where Miyagi, although he's from Okinawa, Japan, his ancestor fell asleep, got drunk in a boat, woke up offshore China, came back home with a Chinese wife, and karate.
You come back one day, stronger wind, stronger sake. Come back, you'll have Miyagi-Do karate.
Well, I think karate is also Japanese, but kung fu isn't. Kung fu is Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah, kung fu is Japanese.
So he brought back karate to Japan, as supposedly with the whole, and this is actually true. This is the guy who wrote Karate Kid. He actually pulled from real history. Like Miyagi is an actual name in the lineage of karate.
Oh,
so yeah.
But so the kids, they went through this confusion. Like, well, I'm competing. Am I competing just with Miyagi-Do, where I'm just defense and not really on the attack? And all that was kind of resolved, where it's like, you go out there and you, with everything we've taught you, right? Because at this point in Cobra Kai, both are together now. Johnny Lawrence and LaRusso, which is a fantastic, the way they came to it after 5 seasons. The kids are like, which one can I do when I'm fighting in the tournaments? Like, you do both. You do you as a martial artist, which makes absolute sense. In that situation, you got to use you use whatever techniques you feel is right, not just one, not just the other, which was really well done. Really well done. Yeah, Do is everything that is Japan, right?
I think so.
As far as a
Miyagi-Do,
or just where like the base of that is judo, right? Judo Kan.
Yeah.
As far as the takedowns that came from the samurais, and then jujitsu was the next step. Jeet Kune Do was Bruce Lee's taking of what he loved.
He mixed martial arts, yeah.
Yeah, he loved the Taekwondo kick. He loved the jujitsu floor work. He loved that, and then boom, he made it.
But nothing beats Taekwondo leap.
This is true. Boot to the head.
Boot to the head.
But yes, no, I agree with you, Paul. And the thing is what I was saying is, like, you don't need, they even had the scene in there to compromise where he can keep the promise of not to fight to his mother, because even Joshua Jackson says, "You're not fighting. I'm the one who's fighting. You're just training me."
That was like the 2 different movies, right, Price?
Yeah.
I didn't mind the Josh Jackson thing. I thought him and the daughter were great, and they befriended him.
This could have been not a Karate Kid movie at all. Just call it like Adventures in New York, okay? And then bring this kid from Asia to New York, from China to New York, and he's trying to blend in. He makes friends with this guy.
It could still be the Karate Kid. He's just the Karate Kid. He's the one teaching, though. It's just a
Maybe,
reversal. of the
okay.
original
You know
film.
what? Forget. Then drop Ralph Macchio. Have him be
That's
the
what I said.
nephew. The nephew of Jackie Chan.
That's
Show
what
him
I
at the
said.
beginning. Jackie Chan is in the dojo. His mother says that's enough. I'm taking him away. They go to New York. He starts a new life. He meets this pizza owner, and then he does whatever he does. Maybe after the guy gets beat up and he's in the hospital, you know, he calls his uncle, and Jackie Chan shows up and he says, you know what? Now we're going to train him together. And they train him to be even a better boxer. They make him a boxer that knows kung fu, and he goes in, and the people that were doing bad to him, he kicks their ass, and the movie ends.
That's exactly what I've been pitching, dude.
Yeah, that probably would have been a decent movie. I guess Ralph Macchio really didn't need to be in this. I agree with you.
Not
That's
at all.
what I've been saying the whole time. That's what
Not
this
at all.
that what you just
And you
said,
got
Bryce, is
my-
what I've been
yeah,
saying. This is
and
what
you
this
got my
movie should have
adventures,
been.
and you got my Adventures in Okinawa, Cobra Kai first film, ready to be greenlit. I guarantee you, the showrunners of Cobra Kai have been pitching for some movies, because you know
Well, I
these
know they're
guys
working
got-
on spin-offs, aren't they?
Well, they just got the formula down, man. You know, but you know, so the story that you guys presented is cool, but then there's just a storytelling problem that this director had, where it's like, dude, this is not a music video. Calm down with the fucking quick takes. Let us breathe. We're like literally not breathing, and all of a sudden, everyone's like is in a relationship.
Well, it was a TV director trying to show off, but basically what Price was telling you was the original Karate Kid in reversal. It's a movie you could have made with the Jackie Chan character that did not impede on the Cobra Kai universe had you left Ralph Macchio out of it. You know, to me, that's what made the most sense. And that would have been a much better movie. If I'd have walked out of that movie, I'd have been like, oh, it's Karate Kid meets Rocky Balboa. Brilliant. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. You know,
Then maybe at the end, you throw in the next movie with LaRusso, you know, because
the teaser credit scene, you have him show up, and like Johnny and him are at the dojo, and he shows up and he's like, yeah, Mr. Miyagi's not here, and he goes, I didn't come to see him, I came to see you. Credits. That's it. No more. The movie ends on a high note, and then you can think of an actual idea that you incorporate all these people for some reason, but this ain't it.
Exactly. I agree with you guys, and we need
That's
to
good.
move past this anyway. But yeah,
no, I don't want to move past it. I'm upset.
I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. We're going to be losing Scribe before too long, and we do have some related news and some other news to get into.
All right.
So let's jump over to the related news. Speaking of Jackie Chan, now this is something that's been going around for years. There's been talk of a Rush Hour 4 since before New Line Cinema was soaked up into Warner Brothers. But from what I have heard all this time, what's been getting in the way is the money that Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker want. But according to Jackie Chan, him and Chris are all on board, and the only thing getting in the way is the studio. So I think that it's kind of one of those things where
the studio writing the checks that they want is what.
Yeah, they got to meet in the middle somewhere here for this to happen.
Do we need a Rush Hour 4? Yeah,
No.
that too.
I think they're
in fact,
too old.
the third one
They shouldn't make
sucked.
it.
The third one was Yeah.
I mean, we all love Jackie, but this should have happened
20 years ago. Yeah.
Well, and let's be real. I don't know if you noticed it or not, Paulie.
I know what you're gonna say.
Jackie looked old as fuck in this movie, and he could barely move in most of the scenes, and you could tell when it was a double. Yeah,
and this is not a slight, but you know, he had a hard time with the dialogue, which I like.
He always does because he can't speak English. He still
no,
can't.
but his English was better before. I'm
He's
just saying
gotten
that
better,
that's
but
part of this being a little old. I mean, look at Chato when he talks.
No, that's because he's got to constantly wipe up the drool. But my point is this. My point is this, Paulie, is back when he couldn't speak a lick of English, I agree with you. Because then he was just mimicking what the directors told him to do, right? Now, I think that he can actually speak some English. He's trying to act more. And it's not working for him. I agree with you. That he lost some of the charm somewhere. He's barely in this movie. Like it's
yeah, he's barely in it.
And I mean that in like the sense of him like present, not like personally present, like in physical form, but just he feels like I am Jackie Chan. Hi, I'm Jackie Chan. Hi. You know.
Here's another question, and I honestly don't know the answer to this. I'm sincerely asking. How much and when I say modern audience, I mean actually just people in this generation. Sorry for the horns outside. Do modern audience are they even aware of who Chris Tucker is at this point?
Not anymore, because
Did-
Chris
did-
is own.
Has he had much of a profile at all in the last,
It's his own fault. He has decided to price himself out of so many movies that he has only popped up in what? Not even 3 movies since the last Rush Hour film, I want to say.
A lot of movies that no one's seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adidas,
Air?
Air,
Wasn't
I
he
was
in
gonna
Air?
say not Air, not Adidas. Air was like one of the biggest ones he's done in the last few years, I
Yeah.
think, and he's barely in it.
Yeah, so
Barely
between the two of them, one has no profile for nearly a generation worth of moviegoers for a franchise that died back in the 90s. So
Well, one of the things I can remember is that Shanghai. We
Shanghai
don't need
Noon.
another sequel to Shanghai for sure. Shanghai Noon was absolutely brilliant, and Shanghai Nights was abysmal.
Oh yeah, it was
Yes,
garbage.
yeah.
I
garbage.
mean, I don't know how you do that. How do you go from something that clicks in a very similar way? I'm only bringing up Shanghai Noon because it's a copy of Rush Hour, essentially.
Basically.
Yep.
Set in the Old West. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
And
set-
then-
set-
the problem with the sequel is they decided to take it to England. That's the big problem. And first of all, it's like you're doing a Western in England. What the hell is this shit?
Well, that could have been okay, but
Well, they were trying to rip off Rush Hour 2 by when they drug, because the second one is they drag him to China or whatever.
yeah.
So they're trying to bring him over to Europe, is what it was. So they're trying to make Chris
They were
the
very
more of the fish
successful
out of
because it
water.
also played on the kung fu, going to walk in the West. It played on.
Oh yeah,
all
we
these
can't
things.
knock that they were successful. They absolutely were.
Yeah.
But boy, that second movie. In fact, when I went out to buy the movie, and I couldn't remember which one was the first one, so I
shit!
went
You
out
accidentally bought the second one.
accidentally bought Shanghai Nights and went barfed in the VCR. And then, holy crap! Oh no, it's Shanghai Noon. I wanted, Dad.
And that's why Chris Tucker owes you $300.
That's right.
He's done 3 movies since then.
I just said that, didn't I? And I was
Wow.
just guessing.
But
Yeah.
the second one,
The 4th movie he did was actually okay. He was in that Nike movie. With
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Air.
Air.
Yeah, that was pretty
Air.
good. But he's barely in it. He's in Billy Lynn's long halftime walk. That's a bomb. And
Silver Lining.
There was a
played-
time where Chris Tucker was like the Dave Chappelle of our.
That was ubiquitous. Yeah.
But he priced himself out of Hollywood, Paulie, is what happened. He decided he's like, I want X amount. And everybody's like, go fuck yourself. Because he's the reason the last Friday movie didn't happen. And all these other things that he got offered. He wanted way too much money. And it got to a point where people are just like, no, you're not that big of a star. He
And
thought it was like,
other people came along who were just as funny or funnier.
yeah.
But
yeah,
how
he
does
thought
he
was
how
the
does he
next
make
Eddie
a
Murphy
living?
or something.
Are you telling me that he has so much money from those movies that he can afford to not take the
Do you
money?
know how
to
much he
even-
made from Rush Hour 3?
12
Probably like
million or
20
something,
million?
right?
Something like that. Yeah. Between that and otherwise he just does stand up.
I
Does
mean,
he
good
make a lot in
investment. If he
stand-up?
doesn't have to
Fifth
work, he
Element.
doesn't have to work.
Fifth
Yeah.
Element.
I think he's running out of
Fifth
money. That's why he's
Fifth
talking.
Element was his best role.
That was a
I
great
think he's
role.
running out of money,
Yeah.
and that's why I think he's been talking Rush Hour 4 and Last Friday now. Because
His
Last
best
Friday
role
was ready to
Jackie
go.
Brown.
Is he living in L.A.?
I think so.
Who can afford L.A. anymore? The
That's what I'm
new
saying. I think
Detroit.
he's getting broke. I
The
think
new
he needs-
Detroit.
It's not for the weak, bro. I tell you that shit.
He didn't blow his money. This is true, Tom. He did kind of invest a bunch of his money, I guess, in some of that other stuff. So he's kind of been just to where he doesn't really have to work, but I think he's getting to the point where he's running out of money. So that's probably why we'll get a Rush Hour 4, and he's going to be in Last Friday, and who knows.
I got to depart.
Yeah, I know you got to split. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here. Scribe, go ahead and plug your wares.
Well, last night had a not quite planned double feature TED Excellence between calling in white people to talk about race and how women need to get into AI because their jobs are going to be destroyed by AI. So they're kind of destroying their own jobs by getting. It was an interesting. double
How
feature.
how is AI going to cook my food?
Man, I tell you, whenever there's a drop of new TEDx talks, you can bet a third of them are something to the effect of how AI will solve the climate crisis, how AI will save cocoa bean farming, how AI is going to change fashion. AI can do everything and anything all at once, except nobody has
Right.
any idea what it's going to do. It's
Right.
like the metaverse.
I thought you were mining old TEDx talks. It's still being done. They're still doing them.
Right. There's still new ones.
Paul, every other day, a block of 20 to 30 new talks drop.
Wow.
I'm not going. I mean, I can. I have at times gone to the archive, so to speak, to look up like well-known ones or interesting ones from the past for comparison to modern times or something.
Like
but no, every Isam and Amanat, we could look at that one. But no, every day there's new stuff. I don't watch this stuff ahead of time 9 times out of 10. And see, just very briefly, I look at TEDx because it's such an off-brand and anybody can do it, kind of put on a show kind of deal. I look at it as kind of, depending on what we're looking at, a canary in the coal mine of what might be the next trend in philosophy or pop culture, or how someone decides to twist something that was bad into a new idea. So I kind of think of it as, let's get a leading edge of what's the latest thinking off Broadway of certain topics.
Well, to tell you the truth, I mean, and we were doing this, that it's often just a marketing tool on the trajectory of people who want to sell speaking engagements.
Oh yes. We have life coaches. We have people who use the stage as sales pitches for their own apps or their own philosophies.
Right. And we have a lot of individual consultants on our website system, and one of the trajectories that they all have is to get a TEDx talk. That's I mean, it's all part of the LinkedIn mafia.
Mm-hmm.
This whole world of weird consultants that do business with each other. I hate LinkedIn. I think it's a scam.
If you can have "I'm a TEDx speaker" on your CV, it makes you sound far more legitimate than if you didn't. But
and the third part is, so you've got to have a speaking engagement or several. You have to have your TEDx talk, and the third leg in your consulting stool is what, Scribe?
Well, a book.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, you are the real thing.
Yes,
That's
the real deal.
Third leg. That is
around the block.
Even if they don't sell, it doesn't matter if they sell.
And especially if your TEDx talk effectively espouses what's in your book without actually saying your book's name.
No, you can't,
because you don't want to make it a complete sales pitch. But anyway, guys, everybody, nice to see you guys talk about all the good stuff with. Did I get an education on Karate Kid lore here? I am not the Karate Kid aficionado that you guys are.
And I could have went on for hours.
I know. So I appreciate that.
You're only scratching on that shit, bro.
I appreciate the passion.
Smith.
Yeah, I can't wait until the day where we have a Hunt for Red October show, and man, I'll be right there. I'll be all over it.
Let's go.
But everybody have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend. Best to everybody dealing with month-end billing stuff, because that's what I'm off to do now. So take care,
guys. If you don't mind.
All right.
Out as well.
Take care, Chris.
Thanks, everybody.
Go ahead and plug your stuff.
Where you going, man?
Bleeding Fool. Yeah, we're doing a little story. Sorry, Paulie. Go ahead. Paul, go ahead.
Where are you going? Why are you leaving, man? Don't be leaving.
That's 1:30. I had to dip. I'm 8 minutes behind schedule.
Go ahead and
we got to hang out again. We got to hang out and do another movie review, Paulie.
I love it, bro. I love it.
Over on bleedingfool.com right now. We just found out about this. You guys probably heard about it, but there's an effort by songofthesouth.net. Ed McCrary he's a historian, movie historian. He wants to get Song of the South in the National Registry. So there's sort of an effort for that. And he goes into all the reasons why, and even Zippity Doodah winning an Oscar. So we kind of look at the pros and cons, but we do give a link on how you can join that effort to nominate the movie for the National Registry. Plus, we touch on the EA Electronic Arts efforts to shut down this DEI remover modification that gets rid of all the rainbow stuff from The Sims 4. And I don't know if anybody saw those Chinese robot fighting things, but man, you combine that with AI, and Skynet is here. I mean, I'm here to tell you that's also on the front page at bleedingfool.com. Tom, to you, thanks for playing the trailer. We won't need it anymore after the weekend. I'll talk to you about that another time. And man, what a great panel. Price, it was so good to see you on here. It's been a minute. Paulie, you too. I'm glad you came in with some Karate Kid aficionado takes on what's really going on. All I know is I'm not going to go see Karate Kid Legends. I'll wait until it's streaming.
Go see Cobra Kai.
That's what I would admit. I'd suggest most people do. Just wait for it to be on streaming.
Yeah, I will. Good to see you too, Paul.
Oh yeah, thanks, Chris.
See you, Tom. Hey, Tom, happy birthday this weekend.
Well, thank you.
Keep those super chats coming in, everybody.
Oh, well, thank you. Take care. All right. Speaking of, let's get into those real quick. We've got Hollywood Burns sending in another 35 South African rands. Say, rumor is Rings of Power will be gone next, even though they're shooting season 3 at the moment, where Amazon are trying to offload part of its rights now. I could see this because we don't know exactly what the situation is. I've heard some conflicting reports, but we do know they have some sort of commitment to the rights holders that they have to do either 5 seasons or 50 hours worth of content. I can't remember which, but I've been kind of comparing this to the whole Netflix Discovery deal. My guess is once they get so far into it, the amount of money they probably have to pay out in penalties will probably be a lot less than it was had they not gone so far. So once they get done with season 3, I wouldn't be surprised if they buy their way out of the contract. What do you guys think, if that's the case, or if they'll even be that much
streaming
more?
is a mystery. I keep talking about the fact that I wish they ran streaming more like the networks ran the TV series, and the way the networks just ran the networks back in the day. Even the networks don't even know how to run their own networks, and there's still a lot of knowledge on how to do these things, but it seems like streaming does not want to avail themselves. I did a video on how come practically if they do have a successful first season of shows, 8 shows, 8 pathetic shows, that their second season almost invariably is shit. And why is that? When in network TV, if the first year was kind of finding their footing, and if they got renewed for a second year, invariably the second year was much better. That seemed to be the trend in network TV. How come they can't do that in streaming? So, and we know Rings of Power started off just, badly. The second year had better production values, but I mean, it was laughably bad. After the 3rd episode, I bailed. I couldn't handle it anymore. And and what are they going to do for the 3rd season? Like, I mean, you've got actors that don't want to be in a show that is as reviled as this show is. It doesn't make it more fun to act in. And there's only so many sycophants that you can surround yourself with that will convince you that you're doing brilliant work in it. It's I don't know. It's tough to be an actor on a show that everybody hates. So maybe they don't want to even be in it. Maybe that's what's going to happen is they're going to revolt. We don't want to do this anymore. We want to move on to something else, please.
Well, if first people will, they'll try to say, well, we can, we'll make it better. We're going to just do a great job, season 2, I don't know what, but then it gets to be this, and you're right. It's like, you're a professional ball player and you're on the Oakland Athletics playing in Sacramento.
That's
shout out to
exactly the
Mexican Iron Man.
Yeah, that's exactly. You're playing for the Blue Jays. So and that's true. That's exactly right. You're Guerrero and you're playing for the Blue Jays, and you want to have, you want to move on. You want to get in the playoffs, and it's just not going to happen. And
and you keep thinking like, all right, well, the writing's going to get better. They're gonna listen to the fans. They're going to course correct. I'm going to just keep on kicking ass, but it just doesn't happen. It's like, it's a weird thing, right? Because as an actor, you never have. I'm not talking about the celebrities. I'm talking about just like actors, guest actors, character actors. You don't really have job security.
No.
So when you get on a show like this, it's like you're set. Great. So you're gonna bring it every day. You're gonna give it your all. And then Hollywood is so funny, man, because it could be something like this, or you give it your all and they never air your 6 episodes that you filmed because the show got canceled after the first 3.
Right.
That happens a lot.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking, man.
Yep.
But yeah.
It's true, but this streaming has introduced a new wrinkle in the extended purgatory. Like the networks at least would kill a show after 2 episodes. If it went like was 65 out of 67 shows, you're dead. Like that's it. It's gone. And all your hopes and dreams are gone. That's fine, but that's kind of expected. But to be forced into purgatory for years solely for a paycheck, because it's not doing your
career
career any good either, because you were in Rings of Power. Yeah, but I was really good in it. Oh, I never saw it. But you want to see my segment in it? No, not interested.
Yeah, maybe a couple of years. Let's say they get off the show or the show's done. It's going to take a couple of years for to repair that.
Oh yeah,
in the business, and it's not because you're bad or you have a bad attitude. It's just that you're connected to the show. Yep. Cast and actors, producers, they're not going to bring you in.
No,
and it's got nothing to do with you.
No, you've got a stink attached to you, and that's a legit thing. I mean. Yep. The casting people and the production people are all crazy. We all know that. They all have different reasons for hiring you, but it doesn't help if you've got this smell constantly floating about you. Oh, you were in Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't.
I mean, because I'm just running through everything you just said and running through our experiences with different showrunners, producers, promising you the world, and then you get this. This business is not for the weak. I'll tell you that.
No, and just even doing the TV guide shows, and now that I've been doing them since I've been doing since the 1972 issue. You get to see actors in tiny roles on failed shows, and they had to move on. I just saw a show, TV 101, that I don't know lasted 6 episodes. Never heard of it, and it's got Matt LeBlanc in it. And he's really young, right? And I know from my experience and talking with actors is that number one, you've auditioned for dozens of shows. You land TV 101. Oh my God, it's actually on NBC. It means this is the biggest. I mean, this is the biggest stage of my life. I am on my way. And then it's a shitty show and the plug is pulled and you're done. And then you're off auditioning again.
And you're a Juilliard level. You graduated from Juilliard with acting.
In 1988, Benjamin Bratt was very young in a show called Night something.
Okay.
They were vigilantes that weren't allowed to hurt people or kill them. And in my commentary, I went, well, why should I bother watching this? Not Knight Rider. Anyway, he was super young, good looking, hunky guy, Benjamin Bratt. And that show lasted, I don't know, 6 episodes before it was canned. But you have so much pent up emotion and dreams. And you go, finally, after all this hard work, I am on my way. No, you're not.
And finally, I get to replace Jimmy Smits in Star Wars as Bail Organa.
Right. Yeah. So let's keep moving here.
Yeah, for sure.
Hollywood's a dream maker and a dream killer.
Packet Proton says with 5, there's now a video of AI Paul playing drums that you can add to your animated intro. We'll have to check it out. Wow. We got Marks 11-7B who says Nintendo America is woke, Nintendo Japan is base. Okay, well, yeah, I wasn't sure. Go 1 for 1 says U.S. aid stops and the support died. What a surprise. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in the past. DCB Titan says Tom Cruise could play Link. He's the right height. This is true. Is that what you were laughing at, or are you laughing at something else?
No, I was laughing at your other comment.
Which one?
The one you just said. That I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Patrick Robinson says, Pauline, a few days ago, I watched a little family drama. Was probably one, I think he means Polly, was probably one of my favorite movies of the year. Romy was wonderful to watch, and I hope to see a physical release. So there you go. As you point out the poster. You're muted, Paul.
All right. First of all, for $9.99, thank you so much, Patrick, and Midnight's Edge. We thank you. I have Patrick. Why don't we get you a one-sheet poster of a little family drama? I'll have Romy autograph it. This is our independent movie. It is now out free on Tubi, and yes, she is absolutely wonderful on it. We're already lining up. Based on her performance, I'm lining up a couple of new roles for her from other independent directors who saw her performance. I couldn't be happier with it. It's a good film. It's a family film. It's good, it's good, strong writing, and really, really well done directing. And Romy's kills it. So I got a one-sheet movie poster to send to you, Patrick, for giving us the shout out and the super chat. So why don't you? I'll put my email in the video in the I'll put in my email in the chat. But thank you for that super chat.
There you go. And then Go One for One says, my cinema has 30 screenings of Lilo and Stitch, 2 for Karate Kid, and 4 for Mission Impossible. Poor movies. It's killing ground out there. Well, the cinemas are actually doing pretty good, but yeah, the problem with Mission Impossible is it's mainly its running time. If they had kept this thing under 2 hours, I think it would have been a
But I'm
lot
hearing it's
better
doing
for it.
pretty good, dude.
It's doing all right, but it's never going to make its money back, unfortunately,
Right. Okay.
because it costs too damn much. Jesus Davila gifted a membership. Thank you for that. And Jesus, thank you again for the $20 super chat the other day. And I got the Batman belt, by the way, from Jesus. Thank you. Jeremiah Hembry says, can we talk about how excited we are for this season's finale for Mobland? Well, I'm excited. I don't know if anybody else on the panel's even been watching the show.
Nope. No,
It's a
I
great
keep
show
hearing
if you
great
haven't.
things, man.
Bryce,
I
have you seen
started
it?
watching it. But I didn't have time to, really sit and watch all the episodes. I watched the first few. I liked what I saw. I need to sit down and really give it my attention.
I didn't like the title, Mo Bland. I thought, why would they call this
Yeah,
so
Mo's
bland?
really bland.
No, you've had better jokes. Next.
You gotta keep you just gotta keep them going.
Hey, you
No, Mobland's really good if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
If you don't shoot the puck, you can't score the goal.
And then Angela Richter gifted a membership. Thank you for that. But yeah, maybe Monday I'm thinking about doing something in place of Toxic Femme. Like
a birthday stream?
Well, my birthday's on Sunday, but I was thinking about doing Toxic Masculinity.
Why? What's wrong with Toxic Femme?
Oh, they're taking a break for the summer, and I think maybe the first show, maybe we'll talk some Mobland. I don't know.
Cool.
But that will be fun. We'll have to see what I come up with between now and then. But with that, we are all wrapped up on the Super Chats. Let me check the Rumble side of things. Paul, why don't you start by plugging your TV Guide video?
Well, my mammoth TV Guide video is out on Call Me Chatto. The issue is 1988, which had Roseanne. I can't remember the other shows. Nest. What was the one with Richard Mulligan?
Empty Nest.
Empty Nest, which was a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
And Murphy Brown. So those were the 3 big breakout hits. And if you want to know ratings, oh my God, in 4 of the 9 years that Roseanne was on, they were hitting over 30 million viewers per show.
Oh, it was a huge show.
Yeah, it was
30 million per show. That's unheard of now. Those were the good old days.
Oh, and then Pack and Proton says he DM'd me AI Paul, so let's check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've started get on that yet, but there was a big stink up on the Lopez versus Lopez sitcom getting canceled after 3 seasons. Well, first of all, it was dog shit, and no one saw it, and the ratings, they actually went down. You talk about the ratings for Roseanne in there, they wish they would get a scrap of that, and that it was 3 seasons too long.
I saw one episode.
Yeah.
George was horrific.
Oh,
Horrific.
it's a horrendous show.
It's just a terrible, terrible.
Just because it's Latin doesn't give you a good doesn't. Oh, let's watch this.
It doesn't make any sound though. It's just the yeah.
Wow. And what software are they using? Are they using
I'm not
the
sure.
Google Flow?
What did you use on that?
Wow.
Vacuum Protons. You don't have to DM super chat. Just send another chat in the,
Holy
or send another
smokes.
message in the chat. But all right, while we're waiting for that
Smooth.
price, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm gonna probably work on a review for Karate Kid Legends, and then in addition to that, I'm trying to think, what do I have going on? I have 2 channels. I have my main channel, and I have my live stream channel. If I can plug my live stream one, I feel like not
Yes.
enough people know about that one.
So it's a
Here,
separate
so-
channel. Go ahead.
Yeah,
and plug
D
it.
Bud Martin just posted a link to it. The reason
Awesome.
I mentioned that one is that a lot of people are that are subscribed to my main channel usually don't realize that there's a separate one for live streams, and I wish more people would notice it. So that's what
there
I'm
you go.
plugging.
So check out Price of Reason live. And Paulie, what you got going on?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to Patrick Robinson. Anyone that's watched a little family drama, it'd be great is that you can always it's kind of like the like and subscribe. If you watch the film, you can give it a thumbs up, maybe comment. It helps get the awareness up of that indie film. Viva Indie Film. And I got our big weekly. So thank you again. So our big weekly wrap-up show later today with Cameron Pasha, 3 p.m. Pacific.
All right. And
That's right.
looks like I'm going to be working on a video, so I'll be busy. Take care of yourselves,
Bye,
guys,
everyone.
and each other. And thanks for all the birthday wishes, guys. I appreciate it. Take care. And
See
as
you.
Andre says, it is time for koalas in the
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given.